She said I might be a minute late. I stopped at the candy store.
Candy.
Yeah. All right. Hi everyone. It's me, Jenny, and Steph, the bestie. Maggie is going to be here. She's just running a little bit late. But we are here to discuss our book for September, I mean, which was Grapes by Katelyn
Whatever
Taylor.
month it is.
Yeah. So I'll just give a basic description of what the book is. So it is a MFM stalker with twin brothers dark romance, where the guys become obsessed with her first. So one becomes obsessed and the other one becomes obsessed. So we will be doing a bit of a non-spoilery chat first, and then we will basically tell you the entire plot of it in a little bit. So if you didn't want to read it or didn't want to finish it or whatever,
we did.
We will tell you everything. You don't even have to read it. So that's exciting. So, yep, Maggie says she's coming. She's just a little late. It's all good. So I'm going to. Do we want to start with? Well, I want to kind of wait for Maggie before we do our star ratings.
Yeah.
So, were you able to read it pretty quickly? Did it go quickly for you at least?
Well, with the audiobook, yeah, I think it would take like 4 hours, something like that. It was a quick read.
Yeah, it was a pretty quick audiobook for sure.
Well, I also listened on like 2.5.
I listened on a higher speed too, but not as fast as you. I think I listened a little slower than you, but still didn't take me too long to get through it. So honestly, I think I could have eyeball read it pretty quickly too, because
it was engaging.
It
is huge too, and the margins. Yeah. I was like, is this for a child?
No, it is not for a child.
Don't let your child read this.
I mean, unless they're a grown child like us. I mean, then sure. But yeah. But yes. So Maggie and I had actually met Katelyn Taylor, and we got the special signed editions of these books at Sinners and Stardust, which I'm happy of. I don't know about Maggie. Like, it's gonna be a pretty trophy on my shelf from our.
It's such a pretty book, though. Like, it's
gorgeous. Yeah. All of her books are like, they look similar. Like, they have similar like black and white like sort of vibes on them. So it's pretty cool.
Wow.
Hello.
Hi.
Why can't I hear you now? Hold on.
I don't know.
Okay, there we go.
I can hear you.
Hello, okay. I can hear you guys now too. I stopped at a candy store on my way home. I'm sorry.
It's all good. So I basically just gave a synopsis of what the book was about. Were you able to read it pretty quickly? Because Steph and I listened to it.
I mean, yeah. Max? Broski? Sorry. 1 second. Let me just stop.
It's always, if it's not my dog, it's someone else's.
Mine just looks dead back there.
I mean, mine's just laying on the on the couch over here, but he's normally the one barking.
Oh,
Max, he'll bark at ghosts.
Hi, Max. Are you a good boy?
He's a good boy.
He's just trying to protect me. But no, as far as like reading it, yeah, I would say relatively. It's a longer book. What is it, like 400, 500 pages? Like, it's a little longer than...
Yeah, it's 450.
450? So it's not like crazy long, but it's a little longer than I've seen on average or what I've typically read. But I was able to read it within a week. But like I told you guys in the thread, I got maybe 65% of the way through, and then I started to skim because I wasn't a fan.
So. It was It also has very, very like large font and margins, like Steph was mentioning before you got on. So, which is helpful.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I listened to the audiobook for it, and like I listened at 2.5 times, somewhere in there, and it was only like a 4-hour audiobook at that speed. So like it's pretty
That's
short. Like it
short.
looks way longer than it really is.
Yeah. So did you guys say already kind of where you were at rating
No,
wise?
we were
or no?
waiting. We were waiting for you.
Sorry.
Maya
You're fine.
says we love doggo interactions. Yes. Kristen says, "Hey, Kristen."
Hello.
Kristen will be in next month in October. So, yay! Everyone.
Well, now
look
you've
forward
got
to
a
that.
kitty friend too.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
She came in.
she's so cute, isn't she? Aw,
Yeah, Chloe. She's a snuggle bug.
she is.
Oh.
She's adorable.
Yeah, she's a good girl.
Um.
They might be
So
coming in and out.
no, it's all good. Okay, so do we want to give our readings then? I already kind of gave the
Yeah.
synopsis and everything. So what did you guys rate it?
I'll go first.
Mm-hmm.
I gave it like a it's okay. So I would have DNF'd it,
Yeah.
but I read it because we're doing our thing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so in that respect, 2 stars.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it would have been a DNF. So I feel like it's
Mhm.
unfair to really take my rating seriously,
Mm-hmm.
which we'll get into the stuff later.
Oh,
But
yeah.
it just, there's certain things for me that just isn't what I like. So
Yeah.
you can't really say much to that. Everyone's going to have their taste.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I gave it a 3. It was very mid for me.
Okay.
I gave it a 4, but only because of one of the characters.
Which one?
Zayden. I love Zayden.
Zayden. Oh,
I freaking love Zayden.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
How is it
I loved him.
Oh my
I
god.
can't help it. He's cuckoo, and I loved it. He was just so bananas.
Oh, he's
The
cuckoo.
the birthday present, just everything, or the anniversary present. The whole thing. I just loved him so much, and
I'm judging you. No.
good.
Steph, if you had to pick between the 2 brothers, who would it be?
Neither.
Yeah.
I thought Dominic was. We didn't get enough from him. He had like 0 personality for me. And
Yeah.
then Zayden, I felt like his
Too much?
personality and what he did contradicted other things. Like he would panic in stressful situations, but he's like a serial killer, so that
Which-
makes 0 sense.
Yeah, her least favorite part we'll discuss when we do the spoilery part of.
And
Okay.
it really bothered me that he would just contradict himself so much with that. Like, oh, I'm this cool badass serial killer.
See,
But
and
I'm
I loved it.
Right.
And I
can't
loved
do
it.
it.
I loved it.
I was so mad because I wanted to like him.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
like I generally like the crazy
crazy
one,
one.
the goofy one. That's
Mhm.
generally like my pick in a why choose is like
Mhm.
that character. But I felt like he just wasn't thought out well.
Yeah. As far as darkness, since you guys have way more experience than me,
Mhm.
where would the book kind of fall for you?
Mid.
Low.
Yeah.
Whoa. Crap. Meanwhile,
Yeah.
me, I'm like,
Yeah.
this is it's maybe not the darkest one I've ever read. I've read one that was darker, but there was some stuff in this where I was like, oh, Jesus.
Yeah. Well,
It's not to say that it wasn't dark.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
just I've read much more descriptive things than
Mhm.
this. This was like barely on page for me.
Mhm.
The things that I know that you are thinking of,
Mhm.
this is nothing.
Yeah, I would agree with Steph, but again, we read dark romance all the time, so like it makes
Yeah.
sense.
We're like immune to it now.
I had a feeling, and I actually messaged Steph, and I was like, I don't know that Maggie's gonna like this at all. Like once we got started with it, I was like, this is not her style thing. I was like, I wish we had chosen Lights Out for her to read with us because I was like, she's not gonna like this. Like it's not.
You're like a light dark with a dash of comedy.
And which Lights Out, if Lights Out was the book that we discussed, you would have like
loved it.
When you read it, you'll understand, but I really like you would total opposite. So
yeah. Well, I mean, that's the whole thing with like books though, right? Like you pick the books because you guys haven't read them yet. So
yeah.
You don't know.
Yeah.
So, but at least like in this regard, even though I didn't like it, it's good for discussion. Seeing where people's kind of thought processes are, or like what they picked up on, or what they really didn't like. So
and definitely like different perspectives. I definitely like Lights Out better. Yeah, I think that you'll really like Lights Out. It's very cute.
Yeah, I plan on reading that next month after all the stuff's done.
Yeah,
it is a good spooky season read because
it is. It's so adorable. I think you're really gonna like that one. But yeah, it was so funny because like when I started reading it, I was like, yeah, I feel so bad for Maggie because
well, it's funny when we get to the thing. So I'm not gonna do the spoiling, but I could tell my face. I was in public too because I was taking kids. I was at a pool. And there was women like besides me where I was reading, and I could tell my face. I was like,
yeah.
And then I was like, I wanted to talk about it in the thread, but I was also like, I don't want like my emotions like to people to absorb that. So I was like, oh, crap, I don't know what to do. Yeah.
What
we'll talk about it.
I was going to say something else too. Oh, at the time of picking this book, I had not read a Katelyn Taylor book before either. So like it was a new author, new book, new everything.
Yeah.
But I did read, I read her newest book, Deceit, right before I read Graves. And I think that may have also skewed it because I really wasn't the biggest fan of Deceit. It's like a academia one where like she has to stay a virgin through the whole thing or whatever, but she has like 3 boyfriends, so like everything's super repetitive because like she's doing things with these 3 boyfriends, but she can't have like actual sex, so like it's all the same thing over and over. So like I think that I was comparing the two also on top of reading more for Xaden than the whole book.
Okay.
Like I did for War, which I also rated 4 stars because I really liked him. So, just rate the guys. I just rate the guys. I don't know. But
oh man. April, I think she said she was the same as me, right?
Yeah, she DNF'd it at the graveyard part.
Yeah.
So I was not surprised. Again, I messaged Steph and I was like, I'm not surprised that she didn't like it either. Like I was like, this is a very specific person kind of book.
Yeah.
But all right. Well, do we want to talk about spoilery things? So anybody who doesn't want to listen to spoilery stuff or hasn't read it and wants to not be spoiled, I'm looking at you, Kristen. Should probably leave.
Unless you don't care. Well, I don't care about spoilers in the least. I will watch someone's spoiler-filled blog and still read it and form my own opinion.
Yeah, it's a romance, so like you kind of know-ish what's happening. But I know Kristen said she wasn't going to get to it before the live show, so. All right.
Oh, yeah. Same.
Kristen says listen. But so we're gonna start talking about it. So if anyone wants to click off, now is the time.
Oh,
but
let me grab my book really quick. Hold on, because I made notes.
Okay, yeah. Maya actually low-key loves spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers are great. I don't care.
This one especially, like the spoilers aren't really like that important. I don't.
Especially in a romance. What the hell? What do you think's going to happen? They're going to have a happily ever after.
And especially when it's a white shoes.
Spoiler.
And she ends up with it, both of them. Yeah. Well, we already said we're going to talk about it. So.
Wait, can I say something that may be controversial?
Yeah, go ahead.
Start a discussion.
Yeah. Go ahead. Come on. Spit it out. Spit it out.
Would you consider it a romance?
Yes.
Yeah.
To me, I didn't feel romance in it. Like I didn't
So-
feel a relationship building.
But they both have a relationship with her, and at the end, they're all happy together. So there's a happy
Yes,
end.
and I don't mean like there's no happily ever after at the end, so it's not a romance. I mean like I didn't.
It wasn't
feel
romantic.
Yeah, it wasn't romantic at all. To me, it felt just like smut. Honestly,
That's
like,
because
there
it's a
wasn't
dark
depth.
romance. Yeah.
Yeah, dark romances. No, that's not true. I won't say that they're not romantic though, because look at Legacy of Gods.
Yeah, and Diamond in the Dark. That had some romantic stuff in it. Yeah.
Like it just depends on the guy. Like the guy
Mhm.
has to like go out of his way to do like these cute, sweet things, and that
Mhm.
doesn't happen in all dark romance.
It happens in this one though. The anniversary present, I will say, is the sweetest thing. I loved it.
I did like that part. That was probably my favorite part.
Oh, I freaking loved it. Okay, so for people who haven't read it, who want the spoilery stuff, so basically the one brother ends up going to jail because he kills somebody who's like going to go after his girl that he's been stalking. And so he tells the other brother, hey, while I'm in jail, watch her, make sure nothing happens to her. And then that twin brother ends up falling for her and then doesn't help the other twin brother get out of jail. And so then he has to ask for help from their like mentor. And then the mentor like helps him get out of jail. He finds out his brother's been sleeping with this girl. He gets all upset, like, you know, they're arguing and things, but also the brothers are trying to get out from under the thumb of the mentor person. We'll talk about some of like the different scenes and stuff, but essentially in the end, she gets kidnapped and the mentor person's like about to rape her or whatever. The two guys come in, kill her.
Kill her?
Kill her captor dude. Her captor dude, / mentor, and then they end up having a baby, but they don't know whose baby it is because they're twin brothers. So identical twin brothers, except for their eyes. She has heterochromia, so one eye's blue and one eye's brown, and then one twin brother is blue eyes and one is brown eyes.
Yeah.
Okay, so
they'll never know.
Yeah, so that is essentially the storyline. So there's other things in there, like turns out that like the mafia dude was in love with her mom at some point. Also turns out that the mafia dude had his brother go and basically like assault her, like all this stuff. So yeah.
There's a lot happening.
Hey, no, I'm just telling y'all that's the spoilery synopsis. I love that she has that, and each brother has a different color. Yes, I thought that was, you know, like you could tell why they did it. So like one eye was for one of them and one was the other. It's cute. I thought it was pretty cool. Mm-hmm. So
okay, so I'm gonna say something first. This is like second page was something that I wrote down.
Second page.
It's the second page.
Yeah.
He literally just got done offing somebody. And by offing, I mean unaliving, just for context here. But he literally talks about how intoxicating and erotic it is to off someone. Yeah. And he goes, I'm still hard from taking out tonight's target. He hasn't met the chick yet, by the way.
Yeah.
And it was a man that he offed. So I literally wrote, whoa, buddy, talk about a kink.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a kink in a lot of dark romance.
So they're also mercenaries / hitmen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
and this guy apparently really likes being a serial killer.
So he's the unhinged one. That's Zayden. That's my favorite.
Yeah, that's Zayden. He's so unhinged.
I'm like, cuckoo bananas.
I'm like mad at you right now, Jenny.
Why?
Wait till we get to the parts where we talk, and I'm gonna be like, Jenny.
Just get to it. My favorite part. One of my favorite parts. I'm just gonna bring up. So she was in foster care, and so when she was in foster care, her foster father and his buddies would basically take turns assaulting her in the basement or whatever. And so Zayden found out. Zayden goes, kidnaps said foster father, puts him in the slashing room that is like all locked and soundproof and everything, gives her a whole selection of tools, and as an anniversary present, lets her basically torture him to death and like cuts out his tongue, cuts off his man bits, like pulls out all of his teeth, gouges out his eyeballs. Like she was able to get her revenge for like basically being assaulted like constantly for what was it, like 5 years or something stupid. It was a lot of time.
Can I ask a question about that? Referencing that? Is it common in dark romance to have the assault on page?
Depends on the romance. I don't think this is necessarily on page.
When you say assault, like her descriptions of what happened or what?
Yeah. So I don't know. Do I have it somewhere here? But we literally go, it's in italicized, and you literally go through the actual event with her of her
Like her memories. It sometimes is so that you can feel where she's coming from and why it was a good release for her, essentially, to be able to take that anger out, you know? So it's not in all of them, but it is in some of them.
So let me ask you this then, Steph. Why would you consider that one, that sort of description of going into like that dream and it's playing out, not on page? Like, what
I think because it's past and she's recalling it. It's not like happening in the present. And while it does, obviously, later, well, not later. It would happen before what we're talking about, right? When Xaden crawls into bed with them or with her. But that's like,
we'll talk about that too.
But like, it's not described. She doesn't even know it's happening. She doesn't know it's him. She thinks it's Dominic. Like, it's not.
Oh no! I was thinking
assault.
The other one where like her flashback. So like,
yes, but I think because it's not actively happening in my mind, it's not really like it's a memory,
and it's not something super in detail.
Yeah, that was something I know April, she had mentioned because of the trigger warnings, and I didn't realize that it said.
I could be wrong, but in my mind, that's more of a memory.
I'm not saying you're right or wrong. I'm just kind of curious because April and I took that the same way. So I was curious, like, what your description of like on page.
I didn't read the trigger warnings, so I don't read trigger warnings generally.
I don't either.
But I get what you're saying though, because it's a dream sequence. It's not actively happening with the character right now.
And her just kind of,
got it.
Explaining what happened.
And it also says child abuse. She was a child when this was happening.
Yeah.
See, like, I thought when
April,
because April mentioned that like on page whatever, I thought she was talking about the graveyard scene, that she thought that was assault.
Oh, maybe she was. I mean, I considered that too with her saying no, but I don't know if I'd say assault. That was where I felt was dubious consent.
Yes.
That would have been the scene I'd consider dubious consent.
Which there's a lot of dubcon in dark romance books, like the majority.
That didn't bug me as much as when it's the flashback scene. So to me, I consider that on page, but I think that's because like I'm not in the dark romance world. I've had just a taste of stuff. So for me, I never see that stuff actively. So for me, that's why I considered it more on page. And
I assumed that was more the child abuse.
Yeah. Okay.
That they were talking about. I don't know. Maybe it could have. I didn't read the trigger warnings before I read it, so it probably could have been stated better. But like, yeah, I didn't consider it like on page in my mind. That doesn't make me right. I don't know.
I'm just asking for discussion.
I am nobody. Don't listen to me.
We're all nobodies. We're just chatting. Did you consider that on page, Jenny, or would you say the same thing? Like it's not actively happening now.
I didn't consider anything apart from technically the part where like Xaden went and like slept with her while she was sleeping, assault. Like at all, because even in the graveyard scene, like they agreed that either she would get away or they would, have relations, you know, and like by the end of it, she was the one that was like initiating all of it and all that stuff. So like she knew it was going to happen and stuff. And she agreed to it before they started doing like the running and the primal play is what it's called and stuff. So like even that part, I didn't consider assault. I didn't consider the memory part. I think it helped show why she was so brutal in her killing of him, and then how brutal it was when the brother of the mentor dude got killed too by Xaden, and why he was so violent towards him in his death too. Like I feel like it kind of like made it make sense, you know, like why it was so like brutal.
Yeah.
And not just like, I'm just gonna, you know. So I'm gonna end up DNFing it, but I'm reading a book or whatever, and in it there is somebody who like drugs the main female character and assaults her and lets everybody on his yacht assault her. And like in it, right?
No, thank you.
Yeah. But like in it, she's super hazy and she's basically just like talking about how she's paying attention to other things and she doesn't really like, she basically disassociates because she's drugged the whole time, right? So like she's high on everything he's given her. But like when one of the main male characters goes to kill that guy, I felt like it wasn't enough. And I think part of it, again, is because I read this one and I was like, yes, he deserved it, you know? But like all he did basically was cut his face and then slash his throat. And I'm like, that's it? That's all you did to that dude? And he did all this stuff to the woman you love?
That's it? You just slashed his throat.
Yeah.
That's
like,
it.
But
you just killed the guy? What?
Well, after being however many, you know, days or weeks or whatever, I don't remember, of being stuck on this yacht being used by everybody, you know, like that's all he did. You know, it was really disappointing. But so like I feel like it's just it makes you understand why it was so brutal, is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
Yeah, no, it was not. It was not. She got kidnapped off of the family compound and was taken onto the boat against her will. And he died. And one of the other people on the boat died. And I don't know if I'm going to finish the book because it's really boring. But I was talking to Steph about that one. I was like, this is like...
What's it called?
This one is Sin and Sapphire. It's actually a beta read.
Oh, okay.
The first one, Diamond in the Dark, that one is amazing. I love that book. But this is the fourth book in the series. And I'm not...
Deserves worse.
Yeah, right? He does deserve worse. That's what I'm saying. I was disappointed. I was like, this is all he's getting.
Yeah, I feel like...
Oh, no. Go ahead, Steph.
I was going to say, I feel like in a lot of dark romance, like a big aspect of them is like torturing her abusers.
Yeah.
From the past. Like that is a theme that comes up a lot in dark romance.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that actually goes well with what I was just about to ask. Would you say like a really key part then to dark romance, what dark romance readers like, is seeing that active punishment played out? So they don't want like a little snippet. They want to see the full blown retaliation.
And so a lot of people who have in their personal lives been assaulted and had these issues and have had past traumas and stuff specifically read dark romance to help them deal with it, because they do see like the vengeance part of it and stuff, and it helps them like feel less alone, and they see that, you know,
you can move on from it.
Yeah, vindication and stuff, and that like they can move on and be happy. And that you're not just, you know, damaged goods or whatever that, you know, people like to make people feel like. So it's definitely a thing in dark romance that a lot of people who read dark romance, not all of them obviously, but a lot of them have been through not great things in their life, and use it as like a coping thing.
Got it. Okay. So that's good to know, because I never knew before about the whole like a big part of the dark romance. I knew there'd be like scenes of like, oh, a guy's gonna get offed or he's gonna get tortured or something. But have it be like a good chunk of it, like a main focus is that actual scene of them getting punished.
It's usually the guy who's obsessed with the girl and like ends up being like the love interest or whatever, goes after whoever hurt her in the past, be it, a family member or I'm still driving around. We'll watch this back when I get home. Okay, April. So be it like a friend, a family member, a random person, like, because there's ones where like she could be like abused by her dad and like not in like the sexual way, but just like abused, and like he'll still take care of him for her, to be like, nobody should treat you that way. You should be treated like a princess, sort of thing. So
yeah. Okay. Yeah, see, I'm so used to being on the outside, hearing more so because I always knew about how like it can be a good sort of like helps you get through it yourself if you're a reader who has gone through those things and help you see like there's that happily ever after. But I didn't realize that the whole like a good chunk of the story being like the whole torture or the killing being like a really big part of it, key part to the story. So I always heard the stuff of like, yeah, he's a stalker and he's obsessed with her. So I was so focused on, dark romance that's the dark part of it. Not so much also the torture and protectiveness.
I think it's all of it, but it's but it's very much that like usually the male is very protective of the female.
Yeah.
And like he wants to help, like it's always him trying to help her move on from her past, because she's like, because they are a morally gray character themselves, and like the woman is generally like afraid to put herself in a relationship with them, that he needs to like prove to her that like he can help her move on from her past, and like he's not going to hurt her. He's going to help her like slay her demons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think that's what a lot of dark romance is like him helping her move on.
Okay. How do you guys feel in this one with her? Like, because I don't feel like she was scared of them in the beginning. I felt like it was insta love to me with her and Dominic.
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't think Dominic was really supposed to be a scary character, though.
I think so.
He was like introducing the relationship, and Xaden was supposed to be like the morally gray thing.
Which is why he did the anniversary present, and he did all the murders, and he did the graveyard scene and all that,
Yeah. How do you guys feel compared to other books that you've read?
I agree with you.
Is this too insta-lovey for you? Or do you prefer to see in dark romance when the girl has a little bit more, I guess, fight in her, before the relationship takes off? Because I even feel like with Xaden, she was it was quick to me. Xaden. She mentions, oh no, but this is one thing that I hate, and one of the reasons why I wasn't a fan is I don't like in any books, regardless, when I hate the throwaway line of just, I know I shouldn't like him, but I do.
Mm-hmm.
I like to see like the character grow into liking them.
April says Xaden isn't gray. He's the blackest black.
Yeah. Yeah, Xaden has the more stuff on Xaden too. But yeah, no, I felt like it was quick with Xaden. Did you guys feel that way?
Yeah, she didn't. It wasn't enough cat and mouse for me.
Yeah.
We needed more conflict.
Yeah, that's what I wanted too. I felt like it was a little too fast. Like she'd say like she's scared of him, and she'd call him a psycho, yet she'd want his dick. Okay, so like
like she purposely would go out of her way to be in his path.
Exactly. So I was
but she's scared.
Yeah. So do you, in other books then, do you prefer when it takes a little bit more cat and mouse?
I think it depends on the book.
Huh?
I think it depends on the book, because there's some books where the girl falls first, like God of Pain and the
that's fine too. But I mean, like, not as insta-lovey. Like, do you prefer, or are there certain books where there is insta-love that you really liked it, regardless if it was the boy or the girl who fell first?
So I will say, for God of Pain, if you only read God of Pain, it would feel insta-lovey. But if you read the series and read God of Malice first, like these characters have been interacting and developing through that entire book, and now they get their book.
Mm-hmm.
So their book feels
Okay.
more instant, but really it's not if you read the series.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
So I don't know that I would count that one as insta love because they had a whole like other characters book to get through to like have
Get to
her
that.
Where you saw
Yeah.
their like
The development.
friendship, their friendship relationship sort of thing. Yeah.
I don't know that I've really read one
I
that
was-
was so instant like this where she didn't push back.
Okay. So I'm not nuts and feeling that way then.
No, I don't
Okay.
think so.
Okay.
I was trying to think too.
Yeah, because when I read, actually, April read this. She really liked it. The one in the shadows, the Katrina Halley book, where it's like the I can't even remember what mythology that technically is. It's not Norse mythology. Maybe it's Welsh. But the girl, the first half of the book was so good. It was so adventure-y. It has dark elements. It, as far as like dark romance goes, it would be on the lighter end for sure. But as soon as like the guy comes into play, it's another one of those situations where it's like, I know I shouldn't like him, but I do. So a lot of the dark romances that I've experienced so far, that's been common. And I'm curious if that's just that just happened to be my luck when I
So-
grabbed those books. It was just a coincidence.
I feel like dark romance is a term used way too loosely for books that shouldn't be considered dark romance.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that Karina Halley book is a dark romance. Like,
Yeah. The
a dark romance is like a tragic beginning and then a happy ever after. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like it gets used way too loosely. It gets used as any morally gray character, and they're like, oh, it's a dark romance.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Yeah. What do you think,
So
Penny?
I feel like it's hard to say dark romance as a general term because it's not. It's used too broadly.
Yeah, it's marketing.
Mm-hmm.
People
I
use
would
it
ag-
so much for marketing.
I would agree with that too. I feel like it should be more nuanced down a little bit almost.
Yeah. That's
Kind of
how
like with like contemporary, right? Like everything's considered like, anything that's taking place like nowadays is like contemporary. But inside of contemporary, there's like all these different like there's closed door, and then there's, like the on page, and then there's the like pretty much the whole thing. But then inside of those, there's like the different kind of categories and stuff. And
Yeah.
like in dark romance, like I feel like, yeah, there's like a spectrum, but it's all lumped together. It's not like able to be separated at all. I don't know.
Yeah. I guess I'm a little bit different than that. I feel like dark romance is an umbrella term because of like all the marketing and how much it gets used.
Mhm.
And I know like 10 years ago or something like that, basically all BDSM books were dark romance.
Mhm.
So I feel like it's kind of an umbrella term, and you need to have those more specific subgenres like actually stated on it
Mhm.
to actually understand like when it's something that has more of this tortured past sort of situation,
Mhm.
or if something's more of like a gothic dark where you have the spooky sort of elements and maybe there's still murder and gore involved, but it's darker in the sense of that sort of violence over here, while when compared to something that's more of a tortured past sort of dark where there's abuse involved. But we don't get that. Everything's just like so generally termed on TikTok and Reels
Mhm.
that it's dark romance. Exactly how you said, Steph. If any morally gray character, it seems like they
That's
pass on dark romance.
that's where Maya said is, or is it just smutty and it has a bad boy? Yeah, just because
Yeah.
there's like a morally not, bright, clean white dude doesn't mean that it's a
Yeah.
dark romance. April sees it as a spectrum. And Kristen, you are not going to like this book if you want to have some humor. And well, unless you like Zayden like I do.
That's not humor.
Yeah, I
I
wouldn't
loved
say
it.
He's goofy and
I
he's
loved it.
wild,
I
but
loved
I
it.
wouldn't say it's humor
He
at
made
all.
me, he made me chuckle.
But yeah, I think it's too big of a term, and it gives people the wrong expectations.
Mhm.
Yeah, million percent. I wish there was more of like a subgenre classification to it that people would use.
That's why I'm always like, I don't consider Lights Out a dark romance. That's Light
Yeah,
Dark is
I
a
was
term I'll use for it, but I would never
Yeah.
call that a dark romance.
no, just like
Yeah.
Butcher and Blackbird.
Butcher and Blackbird, that's not a dark romance.
I wouldn't say so either. I would say it's
Yeah.
like a darker rom-com, not a dark romance. Just like Lights
Yeah.
Out is a darker rom-com. Like just because somebody dies in it doesn't mean that it's a dark romance. Just because somebody isn't morally, like I said, bright, shiny white doesn't mean that it's a dark romance.
Just because they're serial killers doesn't make it a dark romance.
Just because they have somewhat kinky, sexual scenes does not mean that it's a dark romance. Like,
Yeah.
so a good I think she's saying that she's not going to like it, but I mean, if you want to give it a go, I really like Xaden. April says Xaden's a great deranged character. I love Xaden. Okay, he was my favorite.
I want to kill him.
I love him the whole time.
I was opposite. I'm like, dude, oh. Yeah.
But so like a good example, I would say, of a BDSM and also not morally white character. I don't think anybody dies, but a good example of that would be the Red Phoenix Bree series, because it takes place at a sub school. The main male character is not super awesome and great, but like it's like, I don't know, it's not even close to dark romance, but people would consider it that just because
it's the dark part. That's the term that people are using, the descriptor that they're using for all the little things, like how you said dark rom-com. That seems to be the thing that people like have stuck on as far as like marketing and things like that.
Yeah, they stick to the dark, and it's like
yeah. And when I say like a darker rom-com, I mean like that is going to be different than like Dungeons and Drama or whatever. Like there's like the light and fluffy, and then there's like the darker.
Yeah.
But there's still like both rom-coms. It's not that one's a dark romance.
Yeah. Did you guys consider Pestilence a dark romance? I can't remember.
I didn't.
That one borders for me. That one, like, he was really brutal to her in the beginning. And I think like once we got past that beginning part, it could go either way for me.
Yeah.
I would say no, honestly, myself. But
What?
I know it's just, I don't know. It's just not. It just doesn't have like any of like the dark things for me, like, yeah, he's like not very nice to her or whatever, but like to me, just because the main male character isn't nice to the main female character, to me does not mean that it's a dark romance.
It was more, I think, his treatment of her in the beginning. Like it was very clearly captive at the very start. Like,
yeah,
he's dragging her along behind him on a horse.
So were a lot of different sort of like fantasy books. There's a lot of fantasy books where the main female character gets kidnapped by the main male character or whatever,
and then falls in love with him.
And yeah, like it's just because somebody gets kidnapped or abducted or whatever does not mean it's a dark romance, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that one is like very on the line. It's not that dark to me, but I see how that one is on the line.
But
like that
to
one
me,
could tip either way.
In my opinion, though, this isn't that dark either.
Sorry, like to me, I'm like, what?
I've read ones that.
No, I've read much darker, but this has all of the themes that you see in a dark romance. It just doesn't go all the way.
Yeah, like this one I would consider a dark romance, but like on the like, I don't know if it was a scale of like 1 being like a light dark romance and then a dark romance, maybe like a 2.
Jiminy Cricket.
I'm just,
No, totally.
I also
that's why this is an interesting discussion, because we have like I'm a noob and y'all are the experienced ones.
Yeah. So Maya says that they also think that it's more acceptable in fantasy. Yeah, because it's not like in fantasy, it's not like modern times where, I mean, like Pestilence is, but like I still consider it more fantasy because it has like a godlike character coming down. But like in fantasy,
it's more like apocalyptic.
Yeah. So, but I don't know. I'm just like, are you going to start saying that any fantasy that has a captive, any fantasy, not even just fantasy, but like anything, that has somebody die in it or whatever is all going to be dark romance? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, it can happen.
Captive goes very different ways.
Mhm.
Like sometimes he just captures her and locks her up in a room.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that's totally different than if it's a captive and like she's getting abused
and dragged along behind a horse. Like
like those are two very different captive situations.
I don't
in my
know.
head.
There's a lot of nuance to
Yeah.
it. Again, not saying it's that dark, in my opinion, but I could see how people
I could see how
feel
people,
that way.
Yeah, I could see how people would feel that way, but I personally do not.
Well, okay, back to the book. I want to know your guys' question or your answer to this, because this threw me for a loop. I actually texted her. I put it in the thread. Where is it? Hold on, let me find it. It has to do with Xaden, her favorite, Jenny, of course.
Mm-hmm.
When he's stalking her, all that jazz.
The squishy black marshmallow, the squishy burnt marshmallow.
He's charred.
All gooey on the inside. Mm-hmm.
Where is it? Okay, anyways, I can't find it at the moment. But essentially, it had to do with, well, she didn't know him yet, didn't know the brother yet, or anything like that. But he's been in her house. He's been cuddling with her because she's just such a dead sleeper, by the way. Oh my God, this chick. I had issues with this chick. But he talks about how her lips feel so good because he's put his dick on her lips.
Like, what does that mean?
Yeah, I literally, like, at first there was something that he says, and I'm like, is he implying that he puts his dick on her mouth? And I sent that to you guys in the thread, and then like 5 sentences later, it confirms what I thought it was. What are you talking about? So, curious, what were your thoughts of Xaden at that point, Jenny?
I don't know. It's normal stalker stuff. What can I say?
It's normal.
It's just a Monday over here.
Monday.
I mean, yeah. At least he didn't put like cameras and stuff in her room. Like in some books I've read, they've like put cameras and stuff in her room and like watch her do everything.
Wait. You have a bigger problem, Jenny. I just we gotta talk about this.
Yeah.
Problem with cameras in the room.
Yeah.
There's just a guy who puts his dick on your mouth.
Not on.
Yeah, it's just on. Yeah.
That's weird. That's weirder than in.
While you're sleeping, lips out. Bam.
I mean,
it is
weird.
weird.
I would have a worse problem with somebody watching me do my everyday, daily everything than,
It's more intrusive feeling, I feel like, being like monitored and not knowing it, but then finding out later you're monitored. I mean, look, I agree with you. It's weird. It doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, it is weird.
But I would feel more violated knowing I've been monitored 24/7.
Well, and at least he didn't like touch her.
He didn't shove it in there.
Yeah, and he didn't like molest her.
Well, he did touch her.
Yeah, but like not.
Well, he also did that. Just not in that moment.
That was later. That doesn't count.
No, I'm not going to say it's not weird because it's definitely weird and fucked up.
But there's worse things that could have happened, in my opinion.
Yeah. So, like, when you read that part, that didn't make you think anything. Wait, did it make you start liking Xaden?
No.
Because he started to get deranged?
No, I started liking Xaden when he killed the dude that was stalking her, wanting to attack her.
So then in the beginning, when she kind of first meets him and stuff. Oh, wait, the beginning
She doesn't meet him at all.
Okay, yeah, you're talking about the beginning attack. Yeah, okay.
Where the one guy, the random dude on the street was like, you know, looking at her and went to follow her. Yeah, and he was like, nope, and that's what he went to jail for. Like that is when I started liking him, and I was like, and then I was so mad that Dominic took his girl. I was like, how dare you? How dare you?
I love that we had such different experiences, man. Oh my gosh.
What are you wedding, April?
Yeah. What
I want to know
what's
what
the
you're
what?
wedding.
I need context on the what. I don't think we needed Dominic.
Ugh, I did not like Dominic.
Like,
Honestly.
did we need him as a kid? Did this need to be a why choose?
I don't know. It's more
He was so
taboo.
lackluster
Yeah.
that, like, why did we need him at all?
I was so mad at Dominic like the whole time. I was like, "You're not going to help him get out." And then he's like, "You went behind my back and talked to whatever his name is," and he's like, "You want to talk to me?" Like, oh. Yep.
I also don't like that Dominic lied to her and told her he was an only child.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I read that part and I was like, I paused the audiobook and was like,
Mm-hmm.
an only child? What the fuck are you talking about? You have a twin brother.
Yeah. Why are you like why lie to her?
He wanted to like take her away at one point before his brother got out, right?
Yeah, but
wasn't he saying he wanted to take her to San Diego and like
yeah,
act like he never existed?
but here's my thing. What's the harm in saying, "Yeah, I have a twin brother out there. You're never gonna meet him," or something.
Or he's in jail, or like
So
you don't even have to say where he is or what he's doing. Just I have a brother.
She knows he exists.
Like, because she falls for Dominic. Like she says it right here. We talked about where we both grew up. Me in Chicago, him in Seattle. He's an only child, just like me. Like she bonds with him over him being an only child.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And their parents died.
And he just straight lied to her. And their parents died.
But like, she doesn't know that he still has family.
Mm-hmm. Like, I just thought it was a weird lie.
The lying thing, that was annoying to me. I didn't like Dominic. He was my least favorite.
He didn't need to be in the book at all. Mm-mm. Like, Xaden still could have went to jail.
Yep.
We could have followed her life for a chapter or two, and then Xaden could have been out of jail, and we could have continued on.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys think, in reference to Dominic, because they have that kiss, right? And she's like, "Oh, this is amazing." Then he ghosts her, and then he shows up at her car with the groceries and whatever after it's been a month.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And like how they go back to the office and he like immediately fucks her. It's like 0 to 60.
Mm-hmm.
How did you guys take that? Were you annoyed?
Mm-hmm.
Or were you just like, it's on trend?
I mean, but he annoyed me in the entire book. It didn't annoy me in that like the book annoyed me. It annoyed me in that his character was obnoxious to me.
Well, okay, let me ask it this way.
Like you're gonna lie to her, and then you're gonna sit there and not talk to her because you're like, oh no, I shouldn't talk to you. And then you're gonna like go and play like Prince Charming. And I was already upset that he stole Xaden's girl. Oh, April wedded at the camera being more intrusive. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's on. You didn't wake up with it down your throat.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So that leads me to a funny point. So there is in the same book about that yacht dude or whatever, there is one of the dudes, one of his things is about her warming his dick to where she literally just lays her head on his lap and just has it sitting in her mouth, not doing anything. And they say suckles like a pacifier. And I'm like, that's disturbing. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
That's the bad guy, right? Not the good guy.
That is her adopted uncle.
Oh, that's her adopted uncle.
That is one of the one of the three guys. One of the three guys she's supposed to end up with.
One of her harem.
Wait. That is one of her harem?
One of the three guys she ends up with.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I'm reading that one.
This is a lot to take.
I'll have read book 1 and go on with my life.
Yeah, I'm DNFing that one just because one, it's boring more than anything, but I don't know. It takes weird turns.
Wow. Okay. So
at least she didn't wake up to that. Okay, is what I'm saying.
I could see Xaden saying that though.
Mm-hmm.
I could.
He's weird enough.
Like, just warm it up a little bit. Give Daddy a taste, please. But no. So when she what was your impression of her that she would let someone, she'd have this amazing kiss, gets ghosted, they say hello after a month, and he like immediately fucks her on the table, and she's good with it. Did that make you guys have any thoughts about her?
No, I mean, get yours, girl. If that's what you want, do it. Whatever. Who am I to judge?
I was just like, I literally put, Jesus, talk about 0 to 60. But I already had issues with her from the get-go with like the headphones. Like she's wearing the headphones, can't hear shit. And she's going from like shady places. And then like she's dead asleep and someone's in her apartment. So to me, I'm already like, this girl doesn't notice shit, man.
She's got a death wish.
Like, yeah. And then she's like, the guy fucks her right away and she's not thinking twice about it. About condoms, though, which that should be a topic of discussion with your boys, Nate and Jenny. But yeah, I wasn't a fan of her either. So I think that was great. I struggled.
Don't like the way the sex scenes are written.
April, I'll take Dominic.
I'll take neither.
I'll take neither.
I'll just stay lonely forever. I'll be the spinster. It's fine. If those are my options.
Yeah, I feel like I'm definitely the minority that I liked Xaden the most.
At least in our group, like right here. But I'm sure if there's like, we went into all the people who actually read the book, I'm sure there's lots of people who liked Xaden and liked his sort of psychopathic insanity. You know,
so.
I liked that. I just didn't like their relationship.
Yeah.
I liked that he was a psychopath. I didn't like that he would panic in a crisis.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
So that's Steph is talking about where she's crying on the floor after.
And he like calls Dominic and was like, I don't know what to do. She won't stop crying. Dude, you fucking kill people for a living. You cannot panic in a crisis. Why are you panicking in a crisis?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Do
you call Dominic and cry because you unalive someone and make him come clean up your mess? No.
He makes that. No, he makes the other people clean it. The cleaners clean it.
You take care of it.
I'm just saying, okay?
Makes zero sense.
He's not good with emotions.
But delivers her a dude to unalive.
Yeah, to make her happy.
Emotions. It makes zero sense. That was my biggest hang up with him, is that like his character just didn't make sense. I liked that he was a psycho, but then why is he a panicker? And he does it multiple times in the book. That wasn't the only time it happened.
Like flowers. Yes. Yes. Come here. Let me give you my anniversary present. It is a dude tied up, and here are all these tools. Have at him.
What did you guys think about like the first time when she doesn't know he exists and she thinks that he's Dominic and he fucks her without a condom and she's saying no?
See, that's the assault part that I could see, is that he did that without her knowing it was him.
Yeah, and she said no. But that was the other thing with her. Ugh! Oh my God. Okay. So that
she was like, no, and then she's like, oh,
goes along with it anyway.
I'll just take a Plan B in the morning. Never mind.
No, and then the sentence is literally just like, and then I let sleep take me. This guy is fucking you, okay? And you're just like, I'm gonna fall asleep now. Number one, dick must not be that good, okay? Let's be honest right there.
You're just falling asleep.
Number two, this chick, like,
she's got a medical condition. She can just sleep through anything.
I don't know if it's narcolepsy. I don't know what the fuck is going on, but this chick, man, I don't know. But that really bugged me. Like, she was saying no. She was very adamant throughout the whole thing in the beginning about condoms. Dominic respected it. Xaden sure as hell did not. But like, he kept not respecting it. And she was saying the whole, like, I don't want a baby. And he's like, well, no, I'm putting a baby in you. So I don't give a fuck what you think. You're having my kid. You are a vessel for my seed. Fuck off. I hate Xaden. I'm sorry, Jenny. I'm gonna kill this.
I hate a breeding kink.
It's all right.
Hate a breeding kink. It is one of my biggest turnoffs in a book. I hate it. It's disgusting. Every freaking epilogue. I don't know why I read epilogues anymore. I'm
Hates
pissed off
epilogues.
at every single epilogue because it always ends with him putting a baby in her.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
I hate epilogues. Like, they ruin a perfectly good book by having this final scene of, you're going to have my baby.
Yeah. Yep.
Why?
Ugh.
Yeah.
What was your guys' impression of that scene? Or just the fact that he wants to put the baby in her despite her saying, no, 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 don't want this.
See, that's the problem with the book. That is the part of the book that I had the problem with. That's like the only part that I was like,
Mhm.
really? And I was like, we could have done without that whole thing.
Yeah. Is it the part where the whole like she's saying no, or is it the part that he's adamant that she has a baby when she's saying no, I don't want the baby?
Both.
The no. to the
Both.
comment.
And then Dominic being like, well, if you're doing it, I'm doing it, you know, sort
Yeah.
of thing. Like,
Yep, that's
so
where Dominic lost it for me.
everything
Whereas it's
Zayden
like,
does to other people, cool. Everything he does to FMC them. Yeah. So like, and that's so in a way, okay, I didn't like that part, but in a way it makes more sense for Zayden, but then for Dominic to just be like, well, you're doing it, I'm doing it, is
childish.
it's well that, but also like it doesn't make sense for like what his character is supposed to be. Like it makes sense in a way for Zayden and his like cuckoo bananas to do it, but like then for Dominic to switch basically his whole personality and be like, you know,
Yeah.
was weird.
Okay, but she also does it.
Yeah.
She's so adamant about the condoms.
Yeah.
And then she's like, well, I guess I'll have to go take a plan B. And then
Yeah.
the next sex scene
Yeah.
is like, oh, I don't have a condom. Well, that's fine. I'll just take a plan B. Like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then she gets mad at them at one point and like is yelling at him. But then in the next like breath, it's like, oh, I was just being overdramatic. It's fine.
Well, and then okay, and then my
like,
thing,
stand behind your own thing. Like,
and
Your
then
own
my thing, okay,
convictions.
she gets on birth control, and then like right, they put it down the garbage disposal, right? But if you
Wait,
know
they
that
or Zayden?
both of them, Zayden was
Was
just
he
going to
there
throw it
that
away. Zayden was just going to throw it away. Dominic
and
said,
Dominic was like, she'll find it.
she'll dig through the trash and find it, put it down the
Yeah.
garbage disposal. So my thing is, right, she knows that they have these issues, which it should all be on the woman. I understand that. But why didn't she get like the shot or something where they can't stop it?
Mm-hmm. There are other methods.
You know, like I understand she shouldn't be the one that has to do that. They should respect her. But like, if you're wanting to be with these two dudes and you know the way they are.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she's not the brightest.
No,
Yeah.
clearly.
It's true.
Yeah, fucking.
She was too busy sleeping to go to the doctor every 3 months to get the shot.
No, that's what it is.
I don't know,
Oh
man.
my god, this chick. What else do I got?
I don't think it needed to be the mentor dude and the mom connection. I don't think even needed to be in there. That was so off the wall, random.
Weird.
Had nothing to do with anything. Yeah, the casual. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. It's not meant to be taken daily, honey.
yeah. But like, you know, I don't think that the mom connection thing really needed to be in there at all, in my opinion. Like it added nothing to it.
Yeah. Well, so I feel like there's the. Okay, so I'm just gonna say it. I didn't like the writing. I didn't think it was good in my opinion. I felt like a lot of things were in here just for shock value. They didn't serve a purpose, and that's one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I could, yeah.
Also, the flashback scene where it goes into detail about it, I felt like that was more for shock value, and she could have done that in a different way to show, like how you mentioned, Jenny, when she ends up killing the guy, it's to kind of show like why she was so passionate and how she did it. I don't think you had to actually do that scene in that way in order to convey that. So I felt like it was shock value.
Yeah, it could have been done differently. Like she could have had scars or something and been like, "Oh, it was from when I was, repeatedly assaulted as a
Yeah.
kid or something." Like it could have been.
She talked about it. Like, I
Yeah.
don't think we needed a dream sequence where you're actually seeing that she's getting that done to her. And
Yeah.
like the detail of like my body's thumping and all that.
Mhm.
I don't think that was needed.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I think I struggled in that regard too. But this for me, I'm the newbie end where I'm like, to me, this is one of the more darker books that I've read.
Yeah.
So like I'm gonna be more sensitive, you
Yeah.
know.
Maybe I'm
Yeah,
just
I
not
didn't
sensitive enough.
I didn't have an issue
Well,
with the dream
you're more experienced
sequence. I
in it.
think it's like very
Par for the
I
course.
don't know. I guess you don't see a dream sequence always. Sometimes it's just like spoken about.
Mhm.
They have a conversation about her past. But like
Mhm.
either way, these things are conveyed in
Yeah.
most dark romances.
It's very par for the course sort of thing.
Yeah.
April is glad that she DNF'd before that.
Yeah. I didn't like I feel like if it's conveyed, I don't have a problem. And I actually don't even have a problem if the scene's actually done where it's happening, but I need there to be a purpose for it. And if I feel like there's not a purpose, I feel like the author puts you in that situation unfairly. And
Yeah.
that's where to me it comes up as like I'll feel like that's bad writing. But again, maybe I'm just more sensitive to it. But yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, this is a totally different thing. This is just one of the many sex scenes. Okay. But it's like I think it was Dominic that just like came inside of her and
Mhm.
then immediately Zayden eats her out
Mhm.
right after.
Mhm.
I can't.
So was that better or worse to you than the period scene?
Because that was disgusting to me.
Yeah, no. I'm
You got to pick one. Which
I
one
don't
would
like
you?
period scenes in books. They're very, very rare, and apparently that's a kink for some people.
It
But for
is.
me,
Yep.
nah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not. Yeah, I don't.
That checked. I text Jenny and was like,
Mhm.
gag. Like,
Yeah.
what is this?
she's like, I can't believe what's happening in this book is actually happening, that he's doing this to her. And I was like, what is it? I was like, I know what it's gonna be. I know what it's gonna be. And she was
Yeah.
like, she was like, he's, going down on her when it was her period. And I was like, I knew it. I knew that was gonna happen.
Well, no, I think I was more shocked by this than that because in Santana Knox, one of her books that I had read, has a scene just like
Mhm.
that. And that was my first time experiencing that. And that was where I was like, no, I can't do this. Why?
I think it wasn't so much that it was happening. It was that he said he did it because he wanted to taste her blood, not to bring her pleasure, not to relieve her pain,
Yeah.
because he wanted to drink her blood.
The weird
Yeah.
part to me was that he took the tampon out and threw it across the room.
Because fuck that.
That was the gross part
Flat
to
on the
me.
wall.
Because
It's
yeah,
like
here's
undone the
me.
cork.
Yeah, here's me like, okay, now she's gonna, like, one of you is gonna have to go and clean that off the
Clean that
wall.
up.
It's gonna stain on the carpet. Like that's
Yeah.
that's what bothered me
Can
was
I tell you
the
guys a
To
story?
clean up.
So I don't know if I told you guys I used to be a waxer. So like I used to do Brazilians. I had a woman who had a tampon in one time, and we're allowed to wax when you have a tampon. You just have to move the string when you put down the wax. I was still relatively new. We had white walls, by the way. Yeah, you know where this is going. A little bit of the wax got onto the tip of it, and I didn't know. So when I flicked the wax to get it off, it literally shot out of her, went up against the wall, but it literally it still fired, but it was like slowly going down like this.
Like a spaghetti noodle.
Yes. And I looked at it because I didn't know what to do. But then her and I, after like, I don't know, 30 seconds, both started laughing. But it stained so bad.
Oh
and
my
it's probably
gosh.
still there. Oh my God. Yeah.
That's
I
I
can
would have
confirm
been like
Jenny's
crying,
right.
laughing.
Oh my God. I have a bunch of stories from waxing, honestly, that were hilarious. But yeah, I've
That's a
experienced
wild profession.
Yeah. Oh.
So April said that her biggest issue with the book is not just the non-con, but the clear lack of remorse about it. Other books like Sea of Ruin, there is immediate remorse and conversations about it. Yeah. But I mean,
Aiden's very
honestly,
sure of himself. I
Yeah.
feel like whatever actions that he does, he doesn't. I don't even know if you could say that he has like remorse in him. He's very sure of his actions.
I would say no.
Yeah.
But also, isn't Sea of Ruin fantasy?
Yes.
Isn't that a pirate book?
I think oh no, I'm thinking Ships with Bones and Teeth. I haven't read Sea of Ruin. I think it is a fantasy though. I feel like there's mermaids in it.
Yeah. I don't feel like
And
that's the
pirates.
same thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, he clearly gives zero craps.
He doesn't
Yeah.
care. Maya says, yeah, I think so. And April says dark fantasy.
I feel like fantasy does the dark romance genre very differently than actual like contemporary dark romance.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Dark fantasy. Yeah. Yeah. That's where I feel like those subgenres have to come in key.
And there's really not enough of them in dark romance because like they'll separate it by like what the guy is. So it was mafia or serial killer or stalker, but like that's not enough of
a reason to make it dark. Yeah.
Because like there's serial killers in Butcher and Blackbird, but that's not dark. That's a rom-com. Like
what do I have? I think so.
Sea of Ruin is also a white juice.
Yeah.
But April says that she's assaulted by the heroine as well.
Yeah.
All right. Any more thoughts you guys want to discuss? We've been live for an hour 10.
I don't have anything. I think I brought up all the stuff that I had.
I think me too.
Yeah.
Did you guys feel the ending was rushed? I feel like the ending was rushed.
I skimmed it by that point, so I can't really tell.
I don't. Yeah. I mean,
I feel like it was.
It was, but like also I didn't like the ending. So
yeah, me either. Yeah.
I didn't care that it was rushed because I just was over it. Like it didn't, I don't know. It didn't make any sense that it needed to end the way it ended.
Yeah. She could have just not gotten kidnapped. Like it could have ended before she got kidnapped. Like they could have just went and killed him and then it would have just been fine. Or like he could have like broken in and then they could have killed him in their house and then been done and not mentioned the mom at all.
Yeah, it was a really bizarre ending.
But,
and again, Xaden freaks out as usual. Like, you're this badass in this high pressure situation, which you are in a high pressure situation all the time, considering what you do for a living. Why are you panicking?
I do like that Dominic was the one that killed the mentor dude at the end.
Yeah. Was the only like ballsy thing he did.
Because he's like the whole book I was mad at him and he was just like making Xaden go and do everything and deal with everything, and then I don't think there was enough sex in this book. Okay. I was like
did you read the same book?
Dude, literally, when I got to the part where I was skimming, there was already a lot of sex before I even started skimming. But when I started like skimming, I felt like every time they were having sex. So I was just like, that was why I asked that question in the beginning of like, do you feel like this is like an actual, I guess it's better to say a romantic book or just smut, like a smutty book? And to me, I didn't feel romance at all.
There
wasn't just smut.
Yeah, there wasn't a ton of romance in it. The most romantic thing, in my opinion, is the anniversary present. It's my favorite.
Yeah.
I will forever have the anniversary present stuck in my head. And then Dominic, here's a necklace. It's the same thing.
Yeah, but definitely like the torture in the I guess the torture, I won't say, is in every like dark romance, but the unaliving of the people that hurt her is in a lot
Yeah.
of them.
Yeah, it's
Like in
definitely
Haunting
The retribution.
Adeline, like he delivers a hand in a box to her doorstep from
Mhm.
someone who hurt her. Like
Yeah.
you don't actually see the killing on page, but like she just gets a random hand in a box delivered to her doorstep. Like
Yeah.
Whatever girl wants, you know.
All right. So I think we're going to call it here then if we don't have anything else to discuss. So next month is going to be The Butcher Game, which is the second book in the Ren Mueller or something duology currently, possibly series.
this was book 1.
That is book 1.
My book 2 should be here tomorrow.
Kristen from the Neverending TBR and Kristen's Corner is going to be our guest person. She hated the first book, so we'll see how the second book goes. In the books, but in real life, I'll be running. Yeah.
So I think this one's going to be a really interesting discussion.
I think so because Kristen did not like the first book, so the horror ones tend to people like better anyway. But
I think this one is more like clinical because the author is actually like a medical examiner in real life. Like so her descriptions are much more clinical.
Yeah, and the main female character / victim / whatever in it is a medical examiner. So it's I really
the author
like
also has a true crime podcast.
Yep, called Morbid. I really liked the first book, so I'm excited to get to the second one. So it just came out last month, I think, a couple weeks ago.
Like 10, 12 days ago. Came out on the 17th.
So I'm pretty excited for that. So anybody who wants to join in for that, you can. Or else
I will be rereading book 1 earlier in the month because I read this like years ago now, so I don't really remember that much.
I'm halfway through book 1 currently.
Nice. It's very short too. Like this is a tiny book.
So yeah. Anyway, we're gonna call it here. So thank you for everybody coming in and watching, and thank you, Maggie, for being our guest for this month. Even though, like I said, when I started reading it, I was like, "This is not gonna be for Maggie." No.
That's okay. That's okay.
But we didn't know. It was why choose. Who knew it was gonna go this way? I thought normally they're more silly, goofy.
Yeah.
And it made for good discussion, anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all good,
right, everyone. Bye.
Toodles.